Will the next war be fought in Tibet? We tell you all about the rising tensions between the United States and China on Tibet, and that's our top story tonight. Will the next war be fought in Tibet? There are silent developments pointing at rising tensions between the United States and China on Tibet. Let's start off with the very latest. Reports saying American lawmakers will soon be meeting the Dalai Lama in India. The Dalai Lama, as most of you already know, is the spiritual leader of Tibet. He has been living in exile in Dharamshala since fleeing Lhasa in 1959. Dharamshala is now the seat of the Tibetan government in exile. And Dharamshala is where a U.S. bipartisan delegation will soon be headed to. Look at who all are a part of this delegation. There is a Republican Congressman, Michael McCaul, also former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. They will be meeting the Dalai Lama in Dharamshala. And this meeting is expected to happen on either the 18th of June or the 19th. Now, why is this significant, you ask? You see, China wants to not just continue controlling Tibet, but also control the institution of the Dalai Lama. The Tibetans believe in reincarnation. It's called Tulku. As the 88-year-old Dalai Lama ages, China is more interested than ever on his succession. China claims that the Tulku system can operate only with Beijing's approval. In fact, have a look at this article published by the Chinese mouthpiece Global Times. It tries to sell a lie that China alone has the right to approve the successor of the Dalai Lama. Now, at one point, the article claims, and I'm quoting here, for years, the Dalai Lama himself has been making lies to fool people who are not clear about history and the facts. The highest authority on the issue of the Dalai succession does not belong to anyone but is within the authority of the central government, quote unquote. That's Chinese propaganda. Let's talk about the facts now. As per Tibetan tradition, it is the duty of the Panchen Lama to identify the reincarnation of the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama leaves instructions before his death, helping with the search for his successor. The Panchen Lama is supposed to identify the successor. The Panchen Lama is the second highest spiritual leader in Tibetan Buddhism, and he is currently missing. China kidnapped the 11th Panchen Lama days after he was identified. This was back in 1995. The 11th Panchen Lama, Gedhun Choeki Nema, was all of 6 years old. China not only abducted him, but also his parents and his teacher. No one has heard from or seen the Panchen Lama in 29 years. China was quick to replace the Panchen Lama with their own candidate. So you see what's going on here? China is and has been systematically destroying Tibetan institutions. It has been framing laws to suffocate Tibetan traditions. For instance, under Chinese law, all reincarnated lamas must register with the government. Beijing also has been spewing hate. Chinese officials have vilified the Dalai Lama, called him splittist. Even a wolf in monk's clothing, quote unquote. And why do you think that is? Because Beijing sees the Dalai Lama as a threat. The Dalai Lama has been campaigning for Tibetan autonomy, also the right of the Tibetans to exercise their religion, the right to exercise their religion, preserve their culture, institutions and beliefs. China has also been spreading disinformation. In the year 2021, a Global Times article falsely claimed all previous Dalai Lamas were born in China. This is not true. The fourth Dalai Lama, Yonten Gyatso, was born in Mongolia. The sixth Dalai Lama, Sangyang Gyatso, was an ethnic Mopa from India's Arunachal Pradesh. So, what you have here is China spreading disinformation around Tibet, so much so that American lawmakers have now passed a bill that challenges Chinese disinformation on Tibet. We told you all about it on the show yesterday. What do you think explains this bipartisan support for Tibet? What do you think explains that Tibet has suddenly been brought to the front from the back burner? Is something changing? Is it all building up to something big? The US lawmakers are meeting the Dalai Lama in India. Remember, India did not have a Chinese ambassador for 18 months. All is not well, because now you also have India reportedly renaming 30 places in Tibet. This is in retaliation to China renaming places in India's Arunachal Pradesh. In fact, last week, the spokesperson of China's US embassy said that Beijing, quote-unquote, firmly opposes any anti-China separatist activities conducted by the Dalai in any capacity or name in any country, and opposes any forms of contact by officials of any country with him, quote-unquote. But come next week, US officials will be contacting the Dalai Lama. It will be happening in India's Dharamshala, and we will, of course, be keeping you on top of those developments.